this will bother some people, but I don't care. I don't want this to all sound self-congratulatory of the media. But I really appreciated what Ann Killion did yesterday. Really, really appreciated it. And she was not the only one. John Shea, there were others. But it's funny because we're talking about the San Francisco Giants and leadership problems. And Ann Killion, San Francisco Chronicle, who joins us now on the River Islands guest line, I thought took a real leadership position for the media yesterday in being the first one to sort of guide everybody to a conversation that we all thought they were going to have. And then suddenly the Giants were like, no, we're not having it. And Ann, I joked earlier, my favorite question of the whole press conference was your follow-up when Buster's like, we're not doing this. And you go, really? Because it was like, well, then what are we all doing here? So anyway, good afternoon, Ann. How are you?
I'm good, Mark. How are you? How are you, Dan?
Good, Ann.
So that was interesting yesterday, huh?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, we heard, I wrote a column about that very topic after, the Devers stuff compounding this feel of this team being rudderless without a leader. And shortly after that column posted on Monday afternoon, we got word that Buster was going to be available on Tuesday afternoon. So it seemed as though they made sure we knew about his availability. I mean, I'm not saying it was a direct response to that, but it seemed like, okay, people are saying, where's Buster? We are going to make Buster available. And so, yeah, there was, 37, I think, by my count, media members who came out there. And it was just kind of dumbfounding. This has been something that's been boiling over, really hurtful to a huge part of their fan base. People are writing these passionate letters. I've been copied in on so many, and they talk about, their queer kids and how much joy they've had going to Giants game, and just how, and even if it's not they're not about the community, that they are so proud of the team to be an ally. There's just, people are pouring their heart and soul out in these letters and not getting any response in return. So I just figured, this is going to be the team that I've known for at least ever since, the Peter McGowan group bought the team, has been pretty good at damage control and has, tried to massage the message. So I figured that's what this was going to be about. And they said, send out a release, Buster will be available. Absolutely no parameters around Buster Posey, president of baseball operations, biggest face and power broker in the organization, what we could ask him. And so it was pretty stunning.
Absolutely stunning. And Mark and I were on the air and we didn't hear it initially. We were following your tweets and everyone else's in real time. I kept just saying to Mark, what was the point of even going out there? So now that you can reflect 24 hours later, what do you think was the thought to send Buster Posey out there and not address what everyone wanted addressed?
I really don't know, but you know what it kind of reminds me of, and we're old enough that we all remember this moment. Do you remember the famous spring training Barry Bonds moment where he had to answer questions about the growing steroid scandal that had been growing in the offseason? And he sat on a picnic table and he put his young son, Nikolai, right in front of him like a human shield. It kind of reminded me of that. Like, they know Buster is beloved, and they maybe thought, if we trot Buster out there and he just deflects, it's going to be fine. We're all going to be okay because everyone loves Buster. Instead, I think it did tremendous damage to Buster's reputation, which, hasn't been great as a head of baseball ops anyway. And it was insulting, quite frankly, because this is about baseball. This is a baseball team. The baseball team had a night. The baseball commissioner is involved. This is about baseball. So don't come at me with I'm only answering baseball questions. This is baseball. And if he couldn't answer it, I even asked him later, are we talking to the wrong person? Should Larry be here? And then that's when he looked around at Chiz and just was and Chisholm said, we're going to stop this if it was not good.
And Killion, San Francisco Chronicle, with us, Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. And I there's so much here, but here's where my mind goes next, because I'm with you. To me, these are all baseball questions, but I understand how the Giants were trying to define baseball questions. But what I also found odd is when you guys got to those questions, he kept sort of responding with, I don't have an answer for that either. So what was your thought process with regard to just the overall, I'm going to make up a word here, almost the presidentiality of what you saw yesterday? Like, is he equipped for the job?
Well, I've always thought so until yesterday. And now I'm not sure. I mean, I've known Buster Posey since he was introduced in that very same dugout after he got drafted in 2008. And, he came in there in 2010. I was around that team all the time. A professional, mature beyond his years, cool in every situation. He was rattled. He was shaky. He was irritated. He was nervous. He looked like he was surprised. Like, I'm sorry, if he's surprised, he's not reading the room. He came off as tone deaf. His statement about, differing perspectives sounds very both sidesy, which, I mean, it probably did more damage to his reputation than this disastrous season and everything that's happened since he's been the president of baseball ops. I was really surprised because that was not the Buster Posey that I have been accustomed to seeing for getting close to 2 decades now. I mean, I was a little surprised. I don't think I'll be getting a Christmas card from him this year, by the way.
I mean, really? Yeah. Just because of your really? I thought that was just a perfect response. And I was struck by what you just described, where his head was down and he didn't look comfortable. And it's had me wondering, Ann, how does he actually feel about this community and Pride Night in general? Have we ever seen anything from Buster, either pro Pride Night or anti in the past?
Well, that's what I was trying to ask him. That was like my first question, because that's, I mean, he loves this organization, right? I mean, he came back because he loves this organization. This organization has one of its fundamental building blocks in this community is it's embracing of the LGBTQ community. I mean, they courted it when they were building the stadium and every other demographic. Like, they went out of their way to make sure that everyone was on board. And, you can be cynical about until there's a cure night that maybe that's why they started it, because they wanted to make sure everyone was on board for building the new stadium. But they, they stuck their neck out there and were the first pro sports team to do something like that. And ever since that night in 1994, that has been there has been some embrace of the community by the team on a regular basis. And Buster was a member of the team. And there have been, Pride nights, and, there wasn't a Pride uniform until 2021. I went back and checked. He was on the team. He did not play that day. And so I don't know if he wore the cap or not. He did take about 40 games off that year. It was his final year.
Yep.
So is it unusual for him to have taken a game off between, a Friday and Sunday game, take a Saturday game off? No, probably not. So it could be a coincidence, but I don't know. I mean, we all know that he's a Christian. He goes to chapel. He's a very, faith is a big part of his life, but he never went out of his way to alienate the community as a player. If he had feelings about it, he kept them to himself and, was a team player and part of the organization that supports the gay community. So I don't know how he feels about it. So yeah, that was one of the things I was trying to ask. It's just there seems to be an incredible lack of thought, a lack of communication, a lack of understanding, like how this has backfired, how hurtful this has been. It's how this has changed their image fundamentally for so many people. They're now MAGA's favorite baseball team. I mean, figure that.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
And it seemed like, for the most part, as Buster sat down in the dugout, there were two main things that people wanted to discuss. And the other being what had happened in Miami with Rafael Devers. Did you find it odd that he would hold this press conference and start out by saying, I haven't even talked to Rafael Devers?
I did. Yeah, I did. I thought the whole thing was odd, right? And yes, is the trade deadline coming up? Is the draft coming up? Yes, all those things are coming up. But obviously, that is not why 35 media members showed up to try and talk to the head of baseball operations, the face of the franchise, on a Tuesday afternoon to begin a homestand. So yeah, I mean, on both counts, he wasn't prepared. And then I wasn't in there when Devers talked, but a few minutes later, Devers, I mean, Buster's quote about "you have to be accountable" was rich, and then a few minutes later, Devers was accountable and apologized. And then, Mark, I appreciated your blown out of proportion comments earlier today. And then even, again, about 2 hours after Buster spoke, Tony Vitello comes out, and he's, not the most articulate guy. He's been the one kind of left to dangle with this whole Pride Night issue that he's a newbie at. He is not a part. I'm pretty sure University of Tennessee doesn't have Pride Nights. I could be wrong, but he even said a much more thoughtful and important statement on behalf of the organization about being inclusive. And really, that's all it took. Buster could have said, we cherish and value every one of our fans. And we have some things that we're working through right now that we can't talk about, but I just want all of our fans who have supported us all these years to know how much we value them. I mean, really, that's all it would have taken.
Do we know? I'm sorry, Ann.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, do we know whose idea it was for Buster to go out there and do this in the first place? Was it Buster Posey? Do we have any idea on what the genesis is of him going out there?
I don't know. I feel like communications within the organization are extremely lacking. I feel like they knew they had to put someone out there. Maybe Buster figured he could do it, and because he's Buster Posey, it was going to go fine, and he could, blow us off because, he's been used to dealing with the media, a lot. But it didn't go fine. And, there's, a lot of thought that they're petrified by this DOJ threats against them, that their DOJ is weaponizing, this event and is going to go after them. And that could be true. But, this is a team that's been used to a lot of legal issues in the past. And also, you can massage that message. If you are worried about it, just say be vague. Just say you can't talk about a lot of specifics right now, but you're working on repairing things or whatever it is. But you can be vague and still get a message to your fans that you care about them, instead of just basically acting that this is no big deal. We're waiting for this to go away, and let's talk about who we're going to draft.
And I wonder where you think this is all going. And because so many people are new on the job, and obviously they don't want to keep changing jobs every single year. But I guess the question I'm asking is, how bad is this? And what does it mean for Buster and for Tony Vitello and beyond?
I don't know. Ownership, obviously, do they care if the stadium is full like it was last night? Do they care if they can sell a Pride hat for, I looked online today, you can get one. You can still get the Pride hat for $52.99 on their website. That's something that I feel has been going on with this team for a while, that it's been becoming more about, with the development of Lot A, with the buying of the current theater, with the bringing in of Jared Kushner's brother as an investor. They seem like all they care about is making more money, more and more money, more and more money. And they don't seem to care that much about the product on the field. And right now they're sending a message that we really don't care how our fans feel. And so I don't know where it's going. I don't have a real, optimistic feeling about it, considering the product on the field, the mess off the field, the lack of leadership. I think it's going to take a while to fix this. And I don't, it's gotten a lot worse than this isn't just about a bad baseball team that can't figure out how to win games. It seems like it's fundamentally about what their priorities are and what their leadership is and what their values are. And that's one of the things that fans have loved about this team, have appreciated about this team. So, yeah, I can't answer that question.
I mean, it's tough, and from the outside, it looks rudderless, and it looks like they have no identity, and I just can't help but think back to when Larry Baer was principally running things. What is his role now? Is he just a guy who sits in the second row and is just part of ownership?
Well, I mean, Larry's at events all the time. I mean, he's at press conferences all the time. He's still the CEO, and that's the thing. Like, I'm shocked that they couldn't see that this was coming, and Larry is a spin master. He's always been a spin master. He can talk your ear off and try and persuade you that, Barry Bonds never did steroids or what, I mean, he can, he's that's kind of been his role for the last 25, 30 years. And so I'm surprised they didn't bring him out and say, as kind of the voice, bring them both out. Larry kind of says the even if it's not a full apology, the kind of we love our fans, and then turn it over to Buster to talk about baseball. But it wasn't orchestrated that way. And I'm a little surprised because this team has always been image conscious, always done damage control, and they're not doing it. And, I know some PR people just about a half a mile away are pretty good at their jobs. I feel like maybe they should just take a walk down 3rd Street and
Ann, it is wonderful to have your perspective. Thank you. Thank you for your work yesterday. Thank you for making some time for us today. Back to the World Cup for you.
Yay, World Cup. That's what I thought I'd be doing all month.
Yeah. Coming at Levi's. I know you're not allowed to call it Levi's, but next Wednesday, I imagine you'll be there.
Oh, we call it Levi's because we actually know where San Francisco is, and it's not where Levi's is.
That's a good point. That's not San Francisco Stadium. But anyway, all right. Thank you, Ann.